Yo, what's going on, my fellow rock crawlers? It's Space Dean signing back in after a long hiatus. Took some time to just grow as a person and to finish my book that I was working on. I wanted to lock in on that, and I'm proud to say that I finally got it out. So you can find that on Amazon and Barnes& Noble. The name is Double Bogey, a Chinatsu Story. Again, that is Double Bogey, a Chinatsu Story, and you can find that on Amazon and Barnes& Noble. The paperback is on Amazon, so there's that. I appreciate any support. I appreciate any feedback, any criticism. It helps me grow as a writer, and that's what the project was for me first and foremost. So back to the page. I spent a lot of time watching other channels, notably The Critical Drinker, Sydney Watson, and Patrick CC, to name a few. Well, I figured I might as well just get off the proverbial couch and just start getting some content out there. I plan for this page to be more than just me being a talking head and just delivering my opinion, which you may not even care about and which may not even be heard by most. I want to post skits, short films, TV shows, episodes, stuff like that. Really just getting the creative juices flowing with my writing partner, Insomniac Vision. What's up, Chico? Gotta shout you out, bro. We definitely have had this dream of just doing something great for a long time, and I think life is too short. As you can see from the recent events going on in the world, you really can't take anything for granted. Let me articulate. So definitely wanted to just get out here and really put in the work for my dreams and what I want to do. You know, we all have responsibilities. We all have to get up in the morning and do what we have to do, but it's also nice to just have some time to at least chase those dreams if you have some. So for today's episode, which I'm labeling RantDean, right? I'm gonna go with the whole flow of RantDean. My previous RantDean episode was something related to LeBron. I didn't check it. That's on me. But the whole point is I really just want to come here and RantDean and just bring up topics that I saw that was like, what the hell is going on here? And hopefully, like I said, foster that conversation. I want everyone from all spectrums, from all sexualities, all genders. If you got something to say, I want you to say it to me and not feel like I'm just dismissing you or I don't care. I'm definitely one of those people that seeks to understand, and I think that stems from previous relationships. So before I get into today's episode, I want to give y'all the rundown of how things are really going to work, right? So I'm going to have two stories primarily that I want to talk about. And then I'm going to have 2 or 3 snippets of just like, hey, we should pay attention to this, that I'll eventually follow on and talk about at a later time, right? It either to me is new or it's in the world new. So I want to give it time to breathe and kind of see where it goes from there. Or it's just not anything that's really like known going on. So it's not really spending a whole segment talking about, but definitely worth acknowledging. I'm going to do that here. So for my first topic of today's episode, I want to get into the J.K. Rowling and Emma Watson situation that happened a couple weeks ago, or not even a couple weeks ago, like a couple days ago. But it's sad to say that J.K. Rowling had to finally drop the hammer, and it came down pretty hard. It did. And I feel bad for Emma Watson because after doing some research on her and really understanding that she's really been a sheltered person, she's really not equipped to deal with the heat, that kind of heat, that stand on it kind of heat. That JK is like, yo, I've been down in the gutter when I was writing this book that you were acting in for the film. Like, come on now. But just bringing it back, I don't want to dive into the whole dispute, primarily the whole LGBTQ thing. If you're not caught up, J.K. Rowling is a proud feminist. She's progressive in that aspect, and she's also a defender of women, and which I do agree with. I do think that you need to have spaces just for women, biological women. I think that being a woman is sacred in its own category, the same way that being a man is. Now, I understand that people on this earth do what they want to do, think what they want to think, and they're going to move how they want to move. So this whole thing transpired September 24th, 2025, when Emma Watson was giving an interview on the On Purpose podcast with Jay Shetty when she was reflecting on her relationship with J.K. Rowling. And she basically was just like, yo, she treasures their relationship and she's open to bridging any divides or gaps or whatever. Well, now that Emma really showed that she's kind of for anybody and going for anything, because now in 2025, people are kind of realizing what we kind of we kind of got a little wild, we kind of been a little wild the last couple years with everything and how we've been pushing a lot of narratives. Now Emma Watson wants to extend that olive branch. Now for me, when I heard that or when I seen that, I was just like, that does go back to that like privileged, high-minded, like I have the control mentality, and it's really condescending because you are someone that just benefited because of J.K. Rowling's own mind. You are someone that just happened to come up because you were in some fancy schmancy acting school that your parents are able to afford and you just got lucky. God bless you. I'm not against you getting the check. You know what I'm saying? But to be honest, outside of like This Is the End and like some other films, I don't really know you outside of being Hermione Granger, right, Emma Watson? So for me, it's just like you got to be humble with certain things. And if you didn't agree with J.K. Rowling, you could still go out there and talk about trans rights and do all that kind of stuff. But like, you got to leave J.K. alone. And now it's starting to fall back on you. So I feel bad for that. But to the general conversation and the question that I want to ask is just like, really, like, when is enough going to be enough? Like, truly, like, how much more do we have to tarnish quality works of art? Do we have to try to bring down the godfathers and godmothers of the industry? And she's not like, one of these men that was doing sexual harassment or being weirdos or, nothing like that. A woman is saying that, hey, I am a woman and I'm not comfortable with a man saying that he's a woman and he could just step into my space. That's basically where she stands. And I agree with that, because in reality, it's not about denying the existence of transgender people, but it is about denying the notion and the fact that I have to not only accept you in public spaces, fine, but I have to accept you in my private. Like, this isn't a race thing. This isn't a sexuality thing. This has nothing to do with if you're gay or not. That's normal. That just is what it is. But when you wake up and you're like, hey, I'm not the gender I was born with, and now that we have the technology to really do some stuff, come on, bruh. I mean, the civil rights era was 60 years ago. And what's really changed? So really, just when you actually just take a second and breathe and you understand the assignment and you say, okay, these type of societal changes take time, and honestly, even if you want them to happen, that doesn't mean they're always going to happen. And I think that's one of the lessons we need to learn from the whole J.K. Rowling situation, because J.K. Rowling was never wrong. She wasn't. She wasn't hurting anybody. She stood on her hill. She held to her convictions. And you know what? Her subject matter wasn't really that crazy. If you're a woman, if you're born as a woman, then you're a woman. That's all that is. So we need to protect our women. We need to listen to them. We need to give them their spaces. We need to allow them to be their own people. And men have to stop trying to invade women however they can, whether it's mentally, emotionally, physically, or literally just trying to just copy them. Because when you're trying to, and that's another thing. Before I go, you men that are trying to be women, y'all the reason why some girls think that men are jealous of women. That's crazy. All right, y'all. So for my first flash topic, I want to talk about this AI actress, Tilly Norwood. I'm going to just leave it at this. We're getting closer and closer to separating ourselves from reality. There's tons of movies out there, and it's not just the typical Terminator and Skynet bullshit, right? It's not just iRobot. It's actually real. We're making advancements in augmented reality, virtual reality, and we're just going to be at a point to where we are really like those WALL-E people up in space, just fat, out of shape, and despondent. So I want everyone to just try to hold on to the humanity that you have, because the people with the power, the people with the money, they're trying to drain what humanity we have left. So that's my flash topic for now. We'll come back and we'll monitor the situation with Tilly, see where that goes. I know there's already complaints from a whole bunch of unions, actors, actresses. So it's going up right now. But yeah, man, just stay alert on that one. All right, y'all. And for our final topic, we're going to be going over the Charlie Javice situation. And if you're not familiar with Charlie, she was the founder of Frank, which was an American website for assisting students to fill out their FAFSA federal student aid applications. So, what did she do? Well, it launched in 2016, and by 2021, she was acquired by JP Morgan Chase for like $175 million. Fast forward in 2025, she's now been sentenced to 7 years in prison. Why? Because she was trying to finesse JP Morgan. All right. Let me just get some stats up here real quick, just so I know, right? And this kind of goes back to the whole privilege thing, even with the Emma thing, because it's like some people are just so like mentally departed from reality that they just feel like they can do a lot of things. And just hold on to that, because she literally said something that goes to the whole case of this girl is loco. But again, you can't just take away people's money, and you shouldn't fault anyone or be mad at anyone for the way that they're raised. You know, they can't really necessarily fault that. So, but we also have to just be mindful of when people are on bullshit. Okay, that's fair, right? We just got to be mindful and just know how to move with that, right? So let me see. So let me see. Charlie, she's a French-American entrepreneur who founded Frank, a fintech ed tech company designed to simplify the FAFSA application process. We already got that one, right? Javice was celebrated early, named in Forbes 30 under 30, was in a whole bunch of media appearances, and was considered a visionary disruptive in the whole student aid sector and really just education at large, right? So what did she do? Like most people, you know, when you come up with a good idea, you want it to thrive. So she had someone boost her numbers, making them look good, having more students than what she said. I think what's the number was she alleged 4.25 million users, when in truth the real number of verified data points was far lower. I think they're saying reported a few 100,000. So when you thinking you got 4 million, users, that's a lot of people to sell to. That's a lot of, bank accounts. It's a lot of outside loans. That's a whole ecosystem of people. But when you have like less than 10% or hovering around 10% of that, now the whole game changed, especially when I dropped 175 M's, right? This wasn't $1 million, this wasn't $10 million, this was 175 of them things. On September 29th, 2025, Javice was sentenced to 85 months in federal prison. She was also ordered to pay restitution and forfeit her gains. The judge, while sentencing, did publicly rebuke JP Morgan's due diligence processes, calling it stupidity that so many bankers were fooled, but held that institutional weaknesses does not excuse fraud. Right on the money with that one, and I say this. Charlie tried to finesse. She tried to use her privilege. She thought because she was a cute white girl, she could just get by, right? That's accurate in the fact that she tried to use her Holocaust surviving grandma to get out of trouble. That was diabolical, Charlie. Gotta let you know. I was laughing when I read that one. But we can't forget about the bankers who really dropped the ball on this one, right? And listen, I feel it. I'm with capitalism. I'm with it. Now, me personally, I think we need to be a lot more fair with how we go about things, but I'm not against anyone getting a dollar, but I do think that we allow ourselves to just get so caught up in the greed mentality that we lose track of like people. And you see an opportunity, and because you want to make out from that opportunity, that you just say bump it, right? So whichever bankers that greenlit the deal and let it go, I'm sure that they got their nice little percentages and they were chilling and they were able to spend the money on what they want to spend their money on. But see, stuff like this happens. People lose money. People could lose their homes. People could lose their livelihoods. Charlie is just an example of the many of the type of person that will do anything just so they can feel better. Let's not forget about the Theranos situation, right? Let's not forget about Theranos. Like, I'm actually proud of our country because we've been sending these white women to jail. Let's not lose sight of that either. America is growing. Oh, by the way, before I get out of here, y'all, I got one more flash topic I want to get on, right? The Saudis bought EA, right? The EA, the gaming company, right? Creators of Madden and, all that kind of jazz, right? Need for Speed, whatever. I'm going to be honest with you. I got no love for the Saudis, but I love this move. I love gaming. I'm an avid gamer. as you can probably see from the footage that I got up there. That's God of War Ragnarok. Like, I'm all about a good quality story. What we've been getting the last few years has been slop. Slop. Listen, let's get back to the basics. Let's get back to the money. Because I haven't purchased a game in a long time. I game share with my boy now. I told him I'm not buying 2K. So 2K is not getting my money in that aspect. Now I bought some VC, so they got me on the VC. But I'm not spending my money on sloppy games anymore. Now I don't expect 2K to really be a great game in the aspect of a story mode. But it's just that whole cycle. So hopefully EA, y'all come back with some heat. Maybe y'all bring back NBA Live. Y'all bring back some good quality games, and you let everybody know you're back. So other than that, that's all I got for y'all, rock crawlers. Check your oxygen and stay froggy.